what are the 20 flags? It's in your book. You know, everybody go get the book. That's just very a small piece. But when you go meet a woman, what are the 20 flags that you look for?
All right.
You don't
So
have to
the
give all
20 red
20.
flags.
You don't have to give all 20, but some of them.
Okay.
I
So let's
gotta
do
hear.
10.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
twisted 10. Yeah, the twisted 10.
Okay. So let's twist 10. So number one is daddy issues. She doesn't have a good relationship with her father. If a woman doesn't have a good relationship with the man of the house, the guy that, she supposedly grew up with him, how do you expect her to respect and honor you as a man in a relationship or as a father of children if you guys are going to have kids? It rarely happens. The other problem too with daddy issues is these women tend to have borderline personality disorder or BPD, and one of the things that is connected with that is they have a fear of abandonment, and they tend to act out in ways that make abandonment certain. If you can put it that way. I expand on a little bit more in the chapter, but I'll keep going. Feminists, most women today, if they identify as a feminist, they're the version of toxic feminism, where they don't actually seek any kind of equality with men. In actuality, I think we've been equal for years now, for decades even. Like, there's really nothing a woman can't do that a man can't do. It's just that they find ways to embrace victimhood. The common talking point is something along the lines of, well, women only make 75 cents on every dollar that a man makes, but they refuse to take into account that, well, when you factor in a man's income versus a woman's income, men tend to take more dangerous jobs, work longer hours, commute further, experience more workplace injuries. Like, I don't see any push from feminists to move women into coal mines and garbage trucks and oil rigs, but they push to move them into the boardroom as positions like CEOs. So there's a bit of a disconnect. If you have a victim mindset, it's kind of a loser's mindset. And whenever you embrace a victim's mindset, you need to have an oppressor. So guess who the oppressor is going to be? You're a man, it's going to be you at some point. So, if you want an easy, certain, happy, pleasant life, generally speaking, stay away from women that identify as feminists. Women that compete with you. I don't know if you ever dated one of these boss girls, one of these strong, boss ladies.
Oh, yeah.
But my house is bigger than yours. My car is nicer than your car. I've got that. It's like, look, I'm not here to compete with you. I'm here to compete with myself. And if you think that I want competition from an unpleasant woman, you got another thing coming. So I advise guys, especially guys that are like me, chasing excellence, put it in Denton University, make a lot of money, to do something with their life. Stay away from those boss girls that try to compete with you. Women that keep guys from their past around. You ever dated a woman and she says, "Oh, I'm going to go out to lunch with my ex-boyfriend tomorrow," or something like that? Really? Not on my watch. Look, if you're going to try to claim me and you want to be in a relationship with me, and you don't want me to see any other girls, I'm sorry, but you're not able to hang out with ex-boyfriends from your past. No good ever comes from putting your girlfriend or your wife in a room with another man that she was intimate with in her past. So that's something that you have to consider. Violence. A woman that's violent, she's got violent tendencies. I wouldn't even, like, some guys will be like, "Oh, well, you can just make her friends with benefits." Not if she starts throwing things at you and the police need to get called, because it's not her that they'll take away in handcuffs. It's probably going to be you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So stay away from violent women. Tattoos and piercings is always a controversial one. I would probably add extended, ridiculous dagger nails to that now, which seems to be a more common thing today.
And why is that a flag? Why would that be a flag?
The dagger nails or the tattoos?
Both. Well, I could see with the tattoos, but the dagger nails, I mean, they just scare me.
Yeah, well, there's that, right? But I mean, like tattoos are typically a masculine trait, right? Like, historically, tribal, masculine men would get tattooed for those reasons. So when women start to do it, like this version of culture and society today convinces women to be more masculinized. And I think that women getting tattooed now, getting sleeve tattoos and lots of tattoos all over their bodies, is a sign of them trying to be more like men. Historically, like, even when I was a kid, teenage years, 20 years, my 20s, there was no women covered in tattoos. It was very rare. Like, I remember I had a girl from my 20s. She had a tattoo of her heart in her bikini line. That was it. And that was like, oh, that's taboo sort of thing. And then they moved into the tramp stamps and it sort of went from there. But tattoos just show a lack of taste. It's like putting bumper stickers all over a Lamborghini. You just don't do it, right? Women are beautiful by nature. Why would you go and like draw all over their bodies? Let alone, believe it or not, what happens between tattoo artists and women that they tattoo. I've talked to a lot of tattoo artists and they get intimate a lot of the times too. So there's that.
And Richmond,
Should I keep going?
yeah. When I
Or does that give you enough of a taste?
no, I love it. I love it. When I was growing up, whatever. When I was growing up, if you like, I'm from Italy, so you can imagine how my parents were.
Yeah.
So if a woman had a tattoo, automatically trashy, trash, no good, not good, not good to be a mother of your children, that type of thing. And then all of a sudden, like you said, the women needed more rights and this and that, and the tattoos, and then the piercings. That's got to be one of them too. Like when they got piercings everywhere.
Piercings, lots of piercings, yeah, septum piercing, yeah, all that stuff. Yeah.
And then if you're a successful businessman like yourself and others, when you go to a meeting or go to dinner with somebody else who's, say, more successful than you, that you're trying to make a deal with or whatever, and here comes your partner tattooed up, or a earring or a diamond in their cheek, automatically, in my opinion, you might as well kiss that deal goodbye.
Well, it's like I said, I mean, you might as well show up at that business meeting without her, but drive a Lambo that's covered in bumper stickers.
Right.
He's going to look at you like you're some kind of an idiot. Like, why do you make these choices? I don't want to invite you into this business deal, right?
Dead. Yeah,
it's only rational.
Keep going. I love them.
Okay, well, you tell me when to stop. Big notch counts.
Big notch.
So this notion of the red flags is more sensible for guys looking for a girlfriend, a long-term relationship, or the mother for their kids. If you just want to have fun, it doesn't matter. If she's got experience, she's been with 50 guys, it doesn't matter. But the fact of the matter is, there's lots of studies out there. I think the Teachman study is probably the most prolific one. You can go look it up. But they studied the effect of past sexual partners on a woman's ability to pair bond in a strong way to a guy over a long-term basis. So what that basically works out to is a woman that's been with 20 guys is less able to stay happily married to a guy than a woman that was a virgin or maybe had one sexual partner. Another component of that study revealed that the younger they are when they lose their virginity, the less likely they are to experience happiness in a long-term relationship in a marriage, for example. So a woman that's got, again, 20 sexual partners from the age of 14 is a worse choice than a woman that lost her virginity at 23, stayed with the same guy for 7 years. You met her at 30 and she's got one notch count, right? So it's something that you have to contemplate. That's a very uncomfortable conversation, especially in today's world, because when you start saying, well, I don't like promiscuous women, then women start saying, well, you're a misogynist, or why do you hate women? Or if men can do it, then why can't women do it too? And the fact of the matter is they can do it, and they do it. It's just, if you're a smart guy and you're going to invite a woman into your life, you're better off being sensible about selecting a better mate that's a better choice, right? Women that have more notches, higher instances of STDs, abortions, they generally bring kids in tows from past relationships because they've had so much sex. Plus, there's the baggage issue, right? Yeah. For a fact that if you're my age and you date a woman around my age, she's got a lot more baggage than a woman that's 21 years old that's probably been with nobody or maybe one guy. There's more of, he hurt me, he cheated on me, he did this to me. They don't really deal with that stuff. They like to put it in a burlap bag. It's like an invisible brick. I say that they write words on it like resentment or guilt, and they put it in a burlap bag and they carry it around like it's some sort of prize. Nobody sees it, nobody cares, and they don't want to put it down and walk away from it. So notch counts is something to consider as well. You want to continue?
Yeah, and until they're the one with you, and then you decide, okay, this is the one, and that bag that she's been carrying that you can't see, it all comes out on you.
You have to carry around.
Yeah,
exactly.
You get the hit with it. Now, what about their friends around them? You meet a lot of women. They got all these dramacidal friends, and they tell their friends, especially nowadays with the phone and social media, everything that goes on, and they ask your opinion. You're rich. I mean, you have the background to prove it, but then they have to hear from 20 other people. They ask the same question to 20 other people when they just asked you, because it's as if they want to hear that what they had originally thought was right. Then they go around to these dramacidal friends and do all this craziness. And
so I call that their committee.
Their committee.
So all women have a committee that they like to run ideas up the flagpole and see if their committee salutes it or not. You see this a lot of the times online on discussion forums, like Reddit, for example, would be a good example. There's even these sub forums where these women sort of collaborate together, and they're like, I have this problem with my boyfriend and he doesn't want to da 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 sort of thing. And what does everybody think? And it's like the committee then piles in. So it could be an in real life committee where it's their girlfriends, the gals that they hang out with and they drink wine or they go out from time to time and have dinner. It could be an online committee. But at the end of the day, all women have a committee. And ideally, if you're the right guy and you're strong and you're virtuous and you know how to lead the relationship, women will tend to abandon that committee and enter your frame and be a complement to your life. So I'm not saying that you need to tell her to abandon a committee, but if she has one, you want to make sure that it's a reasonable committee, not a bunch of angry, man-hating, purple-haired feminists that are just going to tell her to dump you and move on to the next girl because you can always do better.
Rich, I feel like the committee always is, they're the ones that are, they hate their lives. So if they see that their friend is somewhat happy, but everybody's got problems in their relationships, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, no, that's not good. You should dump them tomorrow. This isn't good because they're miserable.
Yeah, yeah. Like misery loves company, and a lot of the times, because women are hypergamous, they want to get their best option. They don't always want their girlfriends to be happy, though, which is kind of funny. I don't think women see this until they actually see it at some point, but it's not always good for a woman to always rely on a committee of women, especially when you consider the source. If the source is they've been divorced 3 times or she's got 3 kids from 2 different fathers, I'd be asking questions like, really, these are the people that you rely on for your life advice? So there's that to consider too.
Yeah, Rich, that's a big one. That's a big one because I have a lot of friends in this situation. You got any tips on how you would go about saying to that individual, hey, honey,
drop the committee.
yeah, these people that you're hanging around with that are talking to all the time, that you tell everything in the planet to, and you take their advice, and then it turns into a wreck at home. What are some tips for like a guy who maybe has a kid or two, and how do you just somewhat break that committee? Because that's like going against World War III.
It can be, if you try to break a woman up from her friends, it can turn into something quite dramatic. I wouldn't encourage to turn it into a battle, even to result to some sort of negotiation, because whenever you try to negotiate with women, it just results in obligated compliance, which later on down the road ends up in resentment towards you. Yep. So, I think the best way to handle stuff like that is to be a guy in your purpose. You're putting a dent in the universe. You're doing something of some significance in the world. She sees that. She sees that you're influential. She sees that you're competent. She sees that you've got a great social network. You do cool things. You've got a boat. You travel. You're that guy. And all you have to do is say, hey, I don't take women seriously that do this. Anytime a woman does something that is perhaps red flag based or potentially tied into red flags, all you have to do is if she likes to nightclub, for example, right, then all you have to do is say, look, you want my commitment. You've asked to claim me. I don't take women seriously that go out to nightclubs every weekend. Let her decide what to do from then. If she keeps doing it, then you know what you need to do. You just move on and you just replace her, sort of thing. Or you just spend less time with her. You don't take her seriously. You keep her at arm's length. So you would be able to do the same thing with a committee. I don't take women seriously that spend time hanging around with people that offer terrible advice, that live terrible lives. Might be the way to handle something like that.
But when
that's all you have to do.
But when they come home with it or they get off the phone with it, I've seen probably 5, 6 marriages. They've had kids. They were getting along at first, the honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
Then they get to know each other, and then the girl is constantly on the phone telling them everything, in-house. She's not going out. And the guy would say, like, he doesn't really have enough balls, but he says in a nice kind of way, hey, look who you're talking to and taking advice from. And the woman would not. And then they end up in a custody battle, alimony.
Yeah, that's why you got to vet for all that before you put babies in her. See, that's a mistake that men make is, first pretty girl that touches their pee-pee, they get excited. Let's get married. Let's have a honeymoon. Let's have a big party. They don't have a lot of experience. Like, they don't think about red flags. Like, most of the guys that read my book and leave a review, the most common comment I get is, I wish I saw this shit 20 years ago.
I wish I saw this shit 20 years ago.
Yeah, so I can't put your friends in a time machine and send them back to vet for a better woman. So it's almost impossible to do after you're married. So this is something that you have to take seriously when you're thinking about having kids, if you want to invite a woman into your life, and set healthy boundaries, because that's all you're doing. If if I'm dating a woman and I see 3-4 months in, she's getting bad advice from loser women that have terrible lives that have nothing to show for it, then I would just simply say something along the lines of, hey, you know, I know that you like me, sort of thing, and I dig your vibe and all that sort of stuff. But I don't take women seriously that surround themselves with losers. Might be, you know, the way that you handle if you want to make a strong statement, right?
But if you went for that, you know, if you went for the pussy and you got nailed, and you're stuck in it, is it better just to walk away from it and be done with it, or argue for the next 30 years?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I do get a lot of people that book me for coaching consults to talk about that. And there's never an easy answer. What I've found is a lot of the guys that have a lot of money and are real busy with their life, they might be running multiple businesses. They don't care. They just call it a loss. They've got their 4 kids out of the way. The marriage isn't working out. The wife is too difficult to be around, or she's not attractive, you know, to him anymore. He knows he can do better. Maybe he is doing better, you know, at that point. Then it's just untie the knot, pay your dues, you know, give up half of what, you know, whatever you have in most places in the world, and start a new life again. A guy that's worth $40 million that has to give away 20 million isn't that big of a deal to him. He knows how to make that money back. But if a guy's like got a nest egg with a family and a bunch of kids and they've been together for 12 years and he's worth $1.5 million, including the value of the house and all that stuff, that's when guys start to get sketchy, right? That's when they're like worried because, oh shit, you know, I'm only going to be worth $500,000 by the time I've done all this and paid all the lawyer fees and everything.
Yeah.
So
both lawyer fees, and then you got the kid thing, and you know what happened in this example, and you know, and you have a whole, you know, your website's beautiful. I mean, you have everything on there, and you can learn more on this. Just, you know, there's a little question with the kids. You know, when you do that, say you're worth that, you know, 1.5, and you have a kid, and you know the woman's going to go with the, you know, I want full custody, blah 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 blah. Then you have to deal with that situation too. And I keep harping on this because I know a lot of people going through it, and you're the guy. I mean, this is the guy.
Yeah, I actually just finished a course on divorce, and I put it on my Teachable website because a lot of people were asking me about divorce. So you can find that there. It's kind of a step-by-step on how to untie the knot without really, you know, ruining your life too badly. You got to understand that the deck is stacked up against you if you're a guy. You know, one of the most eye-opening conversations I've ever had with a lawyer is I just thought, okay, well, marriage isn't working out. Let's just untie the knot. You know, we'll go to court and figure this out. And he's like, whoa, stop. You don't want to go to court. If you have the penis, you're going to lose. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
You're going to lose if you have the penis? Like, that's how I think. Like, hadn't feminism equalized the playing field? Like, don't, like, women keep saying that they're, you know, they have equal rights and they want more rights. But why is a lawyer telling me that if you have a penis, you're going to lose? You know, so if you're a father, then you're at a disadvantage. So this is, you know, this is one of the many areas in life that men don't contemplate or consider, because when you get married, you take vows, you know, sickness and health and richer and poorer and happiness and whatever. It's like, you know, you just think that you're doing the right thing and it's good to go forever. But women initiate more than 80% of divorces now. It's not men that are leaving marriages, it's mostly women, right? So when men leave, it's actually really bad. But when women leave, it's sometimes because they're bored or they think they can do better because their committee convinces them of that. So you got to be very, very careful with women. I mean, like, having the right woman in your life can change your life for the better. It really can. But inviting the wrong woman can utterly destroy you if you're not careful. I really hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full-length podcast, you can find that over here, that clip's from. If you're newer to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe over here. And pin down below in the top comment, you'll find a bunch of useful links to my website, my supplement line, books, and a bunch of other stuff. Have an amazing day. Peace out.